Welcome to this YouTube channel. Today we are going to look at date functions in Google Sheets. What are we going to do? Date functions in Google Sheets. I have 20 date functions that we are going to go through. So I'll start off with the first one, which is the date function. So if I type here dates, you can see we have a comment down here. If you don't know what it does, just read here, converts year, month, day into a date. So what it does is you give it a year, 2022, give it a month, we are in September, and give it a day of 5th. Once you do that, press enter, it converts it into a date. So simple function, give it a year, a month, and a date, and then it converts it into a date. The next is date difference. As the word sounds, it calculates the difference between two dates. So it takes start date, the end date, and the unit. The unit now is about if you want to count the number of months, you'll have to put M. If you want to count the number of days between these two dates, put D, or if you want to count the number of years between those two dates, you put Y. So what you put here as unit determines what is returned. So you can see they are giving us an example right here, which we can try out and see what it gets to. So I put my equal signs, date difference. So between July 16th, 1969 and July 24th, 1969. So if I press enter, I get 0. Why I get 0 is because there are 0 years between the last amount. Unit here specifies if we want the difference. We want the difference between this date and this date, but in terms of years. So it is returning 0 because there are 0 years between July 16th, 1969 to July 24th, 1969. However, if I change this to D, like so, I get 8, meaning that there are 8 days between July 24th and 16th of July 1969. So if I want months between these two dates, change this one to M. So how many months are there between this date and this date? And there are 0 months because this does not give, there are only 8 days, which is not equal to a month. So if I change this one to maybe 80, it tells you there are 132 months between this date and that date. And the years, change this to years, change it to year, and says there are 11 years between 1980 and 1969. So that's what the difference does. I like it because it gives you an option to specify how you want your difference to be. You want it in terms of days, in terms of months, in terms of years. By using the letter here, you can determine that. The next function is the date value. This one returns the number, the value date. So you can see here it gives us an example date value. So you give it a string and it returns you a number. So I said 2022, then we're in September, then 20th, like so. So this is the value of this date. That one returns the date value of the date. Converts a provided date string into a known format to a date value. So the value of that date is as indicated here. Next, we have the day function. Let's see, you type day, open parenthesis, returns the day of the month that a specified date falls on in numeric format. So, for example, they give us an example here which you can use. So it's a equal sign, date value. Maybe I'll change this to 2022, like so, and the value of the date in this function is 20. As you can see, we have 20. So the numeric value of the date is what is returned. Yeah, and this format can be, this date can be in different formats. For example, we can start with the year, then go to the month, then go to the date as 20, press enter, still it gives you the same result. Or if you don't do it like this, you can also go in and use the date function that we saw earlier, which takes a year, then takes a month, then takes the 20, close that one, then like so, it turns the 20 here as we see. So this one returns the numeric value of the date. Next is the days function. So we say days, then it returns the number of days between two dates. So we just give it two dates and return the number of days. This one is slightly different from the first one that we saw. If you remember, the one where you specify date difference, this one gives you date difference. This one is a bit more flexible because you tell it, I want the difference in years, then it returns the years, or I want the difference in months, and it returns the months, or I want the difference in days, and it returns the days. However, this one here just says the days, then it gives you the start date and the end date. You can use this example that they're giving us right here, say equals the date 24th of July 1969 and 16th of July 1969. So what is the end date and the opening date, start date? And it tells us that there are 8 days between this start end date and that date. So the difference between this function and the earlier one I showed is that the other one gives you a bit of flexibility. You specify, I want the difference in years, or I want it in months, or I want it in days, and it will do it for you. Now, the next one does the same, but the only difference is that it calculates the days based on 360 days of the year. So the number of days between two dates, but we're assuming that the year has 360. So you can say that. And remember, I think it is the end date first. So it's the 24th in comma, then I believe so. Let's try it. And there you go. So I think it is the start date first, which is 10th to 16th. And then we get the difference between the 2 days. However, this one assumes that the year has 360 days. Next, let's look at the E date. E, then date. So this one returns the day, date, a number of months before or after. So it returns you a date, but for you to get that date, you need to give it, believe, a starting point. So this, and then 1. So I'm telling it after 1 month, what will my date be? So if I start in January 20th, after 1 month, my date will be February 20th. I put 4 months, it will be May 20th. So you give it a start date and the number of months, then it will give you the date after those months. Now, end of month, the last day of the month, before or after. Okay, now before even I go to that, I can also do minus. I can do -4 from this. So when you do -4, it counts going backwards from this date of January 20th. So if I say -4, you can see it takes me back to 2021 because it counts going backwards. So you say, give me the month at that. Now, the next one does almost the same thing, but with a slight difference. So what this one does, I believe you give it a start date, then, and the month I think it considers, and then it will give you the end of that month. So my start date, let's remove all these. My start date is 2022 July 01. Then if I say 1 month or 2 months from now, it will take me to the end of those 2 months. Okay, see, it takes me to September. So after 2 months, it will be 1st of September, but the date it returns will be the end of September. So as you can see here, it returns the end of September. So those are my first 8 date functions I've shown you. We are going to move to the next functions. Next, we're looking at the hour function. So let's see what it gives us. We say hour, type hour, like so. If you want to read what it gives you, so it returns the hour component of a specified time. So if this is our time, then it will return 11 here, because that is the hour component. So we do like so. You see, you can do like this, then it will return the hour. So in this case, it's going to return 11. Okay, but if you don't do that, you can also, there's also another function called time, which takes the hours and the minutes and the seconds. So if I do that, it's going to return 6, which is the hours. But I have to put the equal sign right there, and you can see it returns the 6. Now, minutes does the same as this, now to return the 30 minutes. Save time, let me just copy that, Control V, then add here minutes. Then it's going to return the 30 minutes, like so. So it can take it in this format, or you could take it in a different format. As you can see, you can also take it in this format, in quotes, as a string. So here to return the 40 right there. So to try it out, I'll say that minute, copy. So I expect this to return the 40 minutes, like so. Next, related to this, if I can also deal with this at once, there's also a function that returns the second component of that time. So I'll just do second. In other words, I'm telling Google Sheets, return the seconds that are in this time. So it is gonna return 59. Like so, you can see it returns 59. Actually, this is under our function like that. Next, we have the month. So the month function is quite easy. You give it a date, month 6, and like so. So it will go through this date and return the month. So I expect it to return a 6. Enter, you can see a 6 right there. Change this one to 9, it returns a 9. So it goes into that date and picks the month. Next is the net work days. Work days. Now, as the word says, it calculates the number of days, the working days, and it gives you, there are two options. It takes the start date and end date, and then gives you, and there's also an option of giving it the other holidays that are not part of this. Then it will give you the number of working days between two dates. I think this is very important. So assuming I'm looking at 2022, 1st of January, and then I go to the end of the year, 2022, 31st. The other argument is optional. So let me first leave it out. So as you can see, it is telling me there are 260 working days in 2022. Now, if at all these 2 days are holidays, there's this other option where I can add there the additional holidays that it may not have counted. So I first got 260, but if I add on these 2 holidays, it's going to get the 260 minus the 2, so to get the 258. So when I do that, I get 258. But if you take a holiday which has already been counted, then it will not be counted again. If one of these days is a holiday, then it will not be counted again. And I think second or something is a holiday. So if I change it to second here, you can see it takes away only 1 day. So be aware of that. Next, we have the now function. Now the now function, let's see what it says. Current date and time. It returns the current date and time. So you can say now and just do like so. Enter. Then it will tell me the current date. The date today is 5th of September 2022, and the time is 8:39 with 07 seconds. Okay, so now if you want the time and date now, you just say now, open and close the brackets, and you're done. Number 14, I think I'd already looked at this. You get the seconds and take the, so it picks out the seconds in a given time. So I've not done this, but I'm just trying it out. So I said, give me the seconds in the time now. Let's see what it gives us. See, it gives us 58. So it's telling, the time now will give me the date and the time, but when I wrap it under seconds, it will pull out the seconds in the time. Then if I wrap it up in minute, it will give me the minute component. I believe so. So it is telling me 58 minutes. Need to change this to minute. Minute. It's telling me 40 minutes. Okay, there are 40 minutes. Hours. You just type hours here. 8. The hours is 8 because it's 8:40, 58. So it will pull out what you want. The time function, you give it the hours, you give it the minutes, and you give it the seconds, then it return you the time. Okay, so this is how the time function works. If you want the time in Google Sheets, use this time function. Time value so returns the numeric value of that time. So time value, like so. So if I check here, see it takes in the time, then it returns the time value, a numeric value of that time, which is computed. You can use it to compute time, difference between times. So if I do like that, the numeric value is that. So then next, let's move on to our next functions. The next function 17 is today. So does it have, so just say today, open and close brackets, and gives you the date. There's another function which gives you the date and time, but the now function, if you use now, like we had seen before, if you want both date and time, you open and close brackets, then it will give you this. But if you want only the date, say today, open and close brackets, then you get the date. Weekday. Function number 18 is the weekday. So day of the week of the date provided. Okay. So day of the week, let's use the function they are giving here. Example they are giving us here. So we say day of the week, and it gives me 1. And I believe it starts counting from 0. Okay. See, 9 gives you an error, 8 gives you an error, 7 gives you an error, I believe so. Then 6. Okay. Now, week, day of the week of the date provided. So the day of the week of the date provided as a number. Week number. Next, we get day of the week of the date provided. The week, day of the week of the date provided. Week number of the year. So here we're looking at the week number of the year. So my date is in week number 30. So if I give 22nd of July, it tells me that is week 30 of the year. So if I give it the last date of the year, and I say 31st, so it tells me there are 53 weeks. Ideally, these are the weeks in the year. Okay. Now, when I give it maybe the first day of the year, let's see. So it tells me it is the first day or the first week of the year. So right now, to test today is 5th of September, and it is my second week. No, it's not my second. So it's telling me it is the 37th week of the year. Work day. Work, the number of days from start date. So start date and the other days are optional. Number of days So you give it a start date and the number of days. Calculates the date after a number of working days. Okay, so what this one means is I want to get a date after the number of days after I want the number of working days. So maybe there is if I give it 9th of September, now you'll get to know that the next 2 days are weekends. So I want 4 days from this, excluding the weekends. So that's what it does. So let's see what it gives us. So it gives us 15. So 9th is a Friday. So 4 days. So it will skip Saturday 10th and Sunday 11th. Then it will count 12, 13, 14, 15th. So it goes to 15. So the number of work days. So it will skip any holidays and weekends. Okay, so it just calculates the working days, the date of that working days. Function number 21 as my bonus. What does this one does? It returns the year in a date. So if I do, for example, now, you remember we said this one gives us the current date and time. But if I want to extract the year in that now time, I can also do reference this here. You see, it gives me 2022. So the year returns, pulls out the year and returns the year in the date. So we have seen at different functions, we can return the date, which can return the month, which can return the time. And I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you have not, and see you in the next video. Have a great day.